Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I was explaining the understanding of the program manager. I said that program manager need to have a thorough understanding of how the program will fulfill the portfolio and organizational strategy, goals and objectives, and the skill needed to align with the long-term goals of the organization. Let us postmortem this thing. When I say program manager should understand thoroughly how the program will fulfill the portfolio and program strategy. What do I mean when I say portfolio strategy? What is the portfolio strategy? Can someone explain? Organization strategy we do understand, but what is the portfolio strategy?
I believe it's more along the return on investment and financial side.
Exactly. So whenever we are talking about portfolio, we are talking about the investment decision making. So as far as the organizational direction is concerned, if you are aligned with the organization direction, you are flowing in the same direction the organization is flowing, then you are aligned with the organizational strategy. But whatever you are doing, is it important? It is really to be done in priority. This is the job of portfolio. The portfolio strategy is to make the investment decision making. It has to select the projects and programs. It has to prioritize them. It has to allocate resources, strategic resources appropriately. So portfolio has its own strategy. Although portfolio is also aligned with the organizational strategy, but if portfolio interest is not there, then probably you cannot weigh which project or program is more important than the other. So that is exactly why it has mentioned the portfolio strategy. But otherwise, we all are aligned, portfolio, program, project, or even operations, they all are aligned with the organizational strategy and naturally the organizational goals and objectives. And naturally, whatever we are trying to accomplish in this program, we need certain skills to do that. And by using those skills, we are ultimately going to be aligned with the long-term goals of the organization. Right. So this is what program manager should understand. Then, when an organization develops its strategy, it is at the organizational level. When organization develops its strategy, there is typically an initial evaluation and selection process that may be formal or informal to help the organization determine which initiatives to approve, deny, or defer. And who is doing all these decisions as part of the portfolio management practice of the organization. So here we are specifically pointing towards the portfolio strategy. When organization is trying to make the selection of which program or project is to be done and what is the priority of that and how the resources are to be distributed to it, whether it should be started or not, approve, deny, or defer, this all is portfolio management practice. So all projects and programs will actually take birth due to the portfolio management practice, and if portfolio recommends the approval, denial, or deference of an initiative, that will basically dictate whether this project program will exist or not. So it is not only as I said in the previous slide, it is not only the organizational strategy but the portfolio strategy as well. The key difference between program and project management is the strategic focus of the program. Program has a larger focus. It has a larger benefit in mind rather than just an output, rather than just a deliverable in mind. Programs are designed to align with the organizational strategy and facilitate realization of organizational benefits. That is actually defining the program. Whereas projects are also designed to be aligned with organizational strategy, but their main mission is not to facilitate the realization of the organizational benefit. Rather, they are to deliver the deliverable, the output. As I explained earlier, it does not really mean that projects do not deliver benefits. Projects do deliver benefits, but they are focused at creating the product deliverable, and ultimately they may yield certain benefits, but that may extend beyond the life of the project. Whereas in program, it takes on the responsibility of realizing certain organizational benefits and delivering them to the organization. So to accomplish this, program managers require strategic visioning and planning skills. Naturally, the level of program management is a little higher than the project management. So it has more strategic level vision, and the planning skills which are required, they are to be aligned with the long-term goals of the organization. So a program manager should understand which organizational goal, long-term goal or objective it is actually focusing on, and he has to envision his own program strategy according to that. As an organization development strategy, there is typically an initiative, evaluation, and selection process, which I have already mentioned in portfolio, and this helps the organization determine which initiatives are to approve, deny, or defer. We already talked about it. Now, this process of approving, denying, or deference, whether it is a formal process or an informal process, you know, the detail is not important. It's in some organizations that may be a very formal process, in some organizations that can be where there are lesser number of uh, initiatives out of which the decision has to be made. There may be an informal process. An organization selects and authorizes the initiatives it wishes to implement, whichever have been decided, whichever has been approved to go ahead. Organization gives explicit permission or authorization to start those initiatives. And when I say initiative, I may mean programs or projects. And when I say projects, I do not mean the projects which are within the program. I mean the independent stand-alone projects. So independent standalone projects must also be directly linked with the organizational strategy. They must be aligned with the organizational strategy, and the programs are also aligned with the organizational strategy. And we are already talking about it, that the projects which are aligned with the organizational strategy, they are more concerned about the deliverable product, service, and result, whereas the program is for the realization of the organizational benefit. Ultimately, they are responsible to deliver the benefits to the organization, whereas a project is responsible for delivering the product, service, or result. And once again, time and again, I'm clarifying that it does not mean that a project does not deliver benefits. A project, whether it is a standalone project, it will ultimately deliver some benefits, but it is not the responsibility of the project uh, to take on the benefit till end. Therefore, as soon as the product is delivered, the project is finished. And as far as the benefits are concerned, benefits may start realizing during the life of a project or may extend beyond the project. Maybe the benefits of this project are to be realized 5 years. They start realizing 5 years after the project is finished. This is also a possibility. So projects are more concerned about the deliverable, the product, service, or result. More mature an organization is in terms of program management, more likely it is to have a formalized selection process. That is, as we were mentioning the portfolio, a proper formal process for selecting the project, the approval and denial and deferment. This is the portfolio strategy. The decision-making body in the form of portfolio review board or an executive steering committee, whatever it is. It is not necessary that you have a portfolio management mechanism already available. Maybe these decisions are being made by the executive steering committee. So whatever the structure is, the portfolio review board is there, or executive steering committee is there, or whatever name you are using for that decision-making body. It may issue a program mandate. And the word program mandate is no more being used by program management. Now we call it the program charter. So we will restrict ourselves to the charter terminology. Mandate is no more applicable in fourth edition of the program management standard. So what does that define? That defines the strategic objectives and benefits a particular program is expected to deliver. So it is a short statement which defines the strategic objectives and benefits which are expected from the program. So it confirms the commitment of the organizational resources to determine if a program is the most appropriate approach for achieving these objectives and triggers the program initiation phase. So program is initiated by the program charter or whatever you can, alternate name is program mandate, but we will be using program charter mostly. While the project manager lead, direct, and work on their components, and what are their components? Projects are their components. So project manager is concerned about the projects, even within a program. And the program manager, his responsibility is to ensure alignment of the individual plans of those projects which are included in the program with the program goals and intended benefits. So this is not only aligning all the projects with the strategy of the program, but it is also being aligned with program management. Program is also aligned with the organizational strategy. So program is ensuring all the component projects or all the components, whatever they are, projects, sub-programs, or whatever other work. So all the program components must be aligned with the program strategy in support of the achievement of the organizational strategy, which is the ultimate alignment. So organizational strategic goals and objectives are part of the organizational strategy, and program goals and intended benefits are the part of the program strategy. So all the ingredient projects, all the components of the program are aligned with the program strategy, which is in turn aligned with the organizational strategy. So the elements here, as we already have seen, the program risk management strategy is being developed, or the strategy is being devised as soon as we start developing the business case of the program. Based on the business case, program business case, which is a kind of a feasibility, we develop the program charter. Program charter will only be created after we have got the approval from the portfolio, right? After the program has been selected, prioritized, and approved, that is the time the program charter is to be developed. And once the program charter is developed, the next step would be to develop a program roadmap. So, generally speaking, program business case is kind of a pre-program activity. This will happen by the portfolio people or the business analysis people who will determine the need for this program and create a business case for that and get the approval. And after that approval has been taken, program manager is assigned to the program, and program sponsor will develop the charter, as in the case we understand from project management. Project sponsor normally writes the program project charter and assigns it to the project manager. Here also, the program sponsor, whoever is the executive sponsor of the program, he will issue the program charter to the program manager. And program manager, after having understood what is going on, he will develop a roadmap. A roadmap is not a schedule. It is an abstract form of the schedule. It is a very basic form, just showing, the timeline. But what all is required to happen in the life of the program? What are the major milestones? And how various benefits which are expected in the strategy are to be realized during the life of the program. So this is a short kind of a timeline or a abstract schedule which is to be developed at the very start of the planning. So this will determine your, and this will be affected by the environmental assessment. Naturally, as we used to say, the enterprise environmental factors in project management. So this is the bigger term, environmental assessment, which will include all those factors, internal or external, which are going to be affecting the business case or development of the charter or the roadmap. And all of this is happening in alignment with the organizational strategic plan. Meaning what? That all what this initiative has started of program management is based on or aligned with the organizational strategy. So coming again, we start with the organizational strategy. A program business case is developed. When the approval of the business case is given, program charter is to be developed by the executive sponsor and a program manager has to be assigned. Program manager takes on the responsibility of the charter and develops a program roadmap. And while these three documents are being developed, progressively program risk management strategy is established. General strategy, I'm not saying the whole risk management plan is established, no, not at all. The general program risk management strategy is developed and is cemented as we move ahead from business case to charter to roadmap. And these things are impacted by the environmental assessment. And after we have done all that, these are the strategic alignment elements. If we have fulfilled all three elements, business case, charter, and roadmap, now we can move on to planning. And here, the next step would be to develop a program management plan, which is not part of this chapter. But once these three elements are available, then we can move on to starting the program management plan. So these are, this is the brief description of these elements. Am I, understandable so far?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So coming over to the business case first. Programs.
Suhail, can I ask a question? I looked at the slides, and some of them I had kept notes from your slides saying slide so and so or topic so and so, and they were a bit different from my notes.
Okay. That is why, because the slides you have got, I have not updated them with the new version, right?
Okay.
So they were the old slides. I promise you that I will update those slides. I'll copy those slides there. So which I could not do so far.
And the other thing, our ECO is still from April 2011. It's the same one.
Yes. ECO is same.
Okay.
But the standard has changed slightly.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. I was just going through the stuff and I thought maybe by mistake you've shared an old folder or for SPM3 or something.
Yes.
It's okay.
I'm actually updating the slides as I go, and I will keep updating them there as well. But you see,
Oh,
just because I did not get the
I'm
time.
sorry, because I just keep notes like, slide this, topic this, and then if I need to come back to a bullet point or something, I
Okay.
just note that. And I went to a couple of slides and I didn't get them there. So I
No,
thought,
I
okay,
understand that.
allow.
That will happen, but you will ultimately get the new slides.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, coming over to the program business case, as you understand now, that as far as the program strategy alignment is concerned, the first component and first element is the business case, and developing the program business case is generally a pre-program activity. The need for the program must have been realized by the executive sponsor or the top level executives before the program has ever started. They must have had the business need for doing something, and to justify that business need, they will have to develop a business case. This job can be done by two kind of people. One, generally, this is the job of the business analyst. But portfolio, because all the business cases, when developed, comes to the portfolio, and then portfolio does its own job. What does portfolio do? Portfolio do the selection of the projects and programs to be included into the portfolio. So there might have been many business cases which are otherwise feasible, but portfolio does not allow them to enter into the portfolio as they are not in alignment with the strategy of the portfolio. So it is important that all the business cases, whether they are being created by the business analysts or whomsoever, must satisfy the portfolio strategy requirements. And portfolio is the only deciding body who would say that this project or program has to is allowed to enter the portfolio. And once that is done, only then the program forms part of the portfolio, and then portfolio further prioritizes it and does other things with it. So program strategy alignment is initiated with the development of the program business case, which is a documented economic feasibility study used to establish validity of the benefits to be delivered by a program. So this is a justification for doing this program. It justifies the need for a program by defining how a program's expected outcomes would support the organizational strategy, goals, and objectives. And the program's expected outcomes are the benefits, the program benefits. You remember I have referred outcomes to the benefits and outputs to the deliverables. So program expected benefits, outcomes are the benefits which are to be realized by the program in support of the organizational strategic goals and objectives. So this is the alignment to the strategic goals and objectives, and the portfolio strategy was shown in the beginning that the business case once approved, that becomes aligned with the portfolio strategy, and portfolio is already aligned with the organizational strategy. Still, we ensure that whatever benefits we are giving, they are also in proper alignment with the organizational strategic goals and objectives. Then the program charter and the roadmap. As a documented economic feasibility study, which was the program business case, is used to establish the validity of the benefits to be delivered by a program. The business case is then further used as an input to develop the program charter and subsequently the program roadmap. These three documents are established as
Suhail,
part of this.
are we safe to say that they're in sequence? Is there an order to them, or it's like elaboration that they keep on getting filled up
Uh,
as we get information?
as far as elaboration is concerned, I will not deny that elaboration, progressive elaboration is permanent feature of any project or a program. And especially in program, we have got more progressive elaboration because uncertainty is more in the program. But still, I will go by the sequence thing because they happen in a sequence. Business case has to be there as if the program charter can be created, and a program charter has to be there as if the roadmap is created. Now, though it happens very seldom, but I have seen uh, the charters being amended while in the middle of the program or a project. Although this does not really, we do not usually see this happening, but while you are in the middle of a program, there might be change in the business need, and the business case is rewritten, and ultimately the charter is to be revised, and the roadmap will also be revised. So whenever any change happens in any one of these documents, that will subsequently impact on the subsequent document, but they do
Okay.
exist in a sequence.
Okay. So basically what I was going by was that business, if it is an input to the program charter, then it has to be developed first.
Exactly.
And is charter an input for program roadmap, even if it's in the initiation stage, and then they can be developed and elaborated,
Exactly.
as it happens.
Exactly.
But initially, when created for the first time, business case has to be there to even start with the charter.
Exactly. Exactly. You see,
And the charter has to be there to start the roadmap.
exactly. You see,
Okay.
the possibility of program charter changing is more than a project charter changing. I was working on
Yeah.
a program with PMI, and that was we were trying to create the newer version of organizational project management maturity model, second edition. The program manager was Tony, and I was the quality lead with him. And right when we were in the middle of the program, from PMI we got the instruction that the charter has changed. So that was quite strange to us all. How is it possible that right in the middle of a program, the charter is being changed? So we
So
asked
how did
PMI,
they explain it?
yes,
How did they explain it?
yes. So we asked PMI that in those days there was no standard for program management or portfolio management. So we only had to rely on a guide to project management body of knowledge, and that clearly says that everything the charter, it doesn't show charter to ever be revised. So we asked PMI, how can you change the charter right in the middle of the program? And they said that the reason for change of charter is that the business need has changed. Program is a very long venture. This program of developing the OPM 3 standard was of 4 complete years. And during the 4 years, the basic need of the customer, the client, had evolved into something new. And therefore, the business case which was developed, actually, there was not one business case on which this program was developed. There were 19 different business cases. And all those 19 business cases were inducted into the program charter. PMI explained that we have got 5 new business cases added, and you have to accommodate them as well. Therefore, the charter is revised, and now you have to, replan everything accordingly. They could have done another thing, and that was which usually is done, that all new features which are being advised, they do not add it to the ongoing program charter. They keep it for the next version. But the need of the customer was so much that it was mandatory to have them included in the current program charter, and therefore the charter was changed. I hope you understand my point.
Thanks. That makes it clear.
You're most welcome. Okay, So these three documents are established as part of the program formulation activities. This program formulation thing or strategy alignment, when the program is being formulated, these three things are happening. During the execution of the program formulation subphase, the program strategy alignment process is initiated and runs until the end of the program lifecycle. Meaning what? That the strategy can change anywhere during the life of the project, and we can revise these three documents or any one of these documents, and subsequently they may affect the subsequent document and so on. During this time, the management processes to identify and quantify environmental factors, outcomes, and benefits, and to identify and manage program risks are executed and controlled. So you must keep that thing in your mind that while we are creating these three documents, we are having a fair idea of the evolution of the program strategy, and we are also accepting the effect from the environmental factors. So environmental assessment is also going on beside uh, creating these documents, and at the same time, the risk management strategy for the program is also evolving. And what are the book of rules? What is the book of rules? That is the program governance framework. So remaining within the program governance framework, we are executing and controlling. All of this is happening. If we do not align these three things, when misalignment is identified, the program management plan or the organization's strategic goals and objectives should be revised to ensure alignment. You see, program management plan is ultimately resulted out of the sequence of these three documents. So if program management plan is not in alignment with the business case, charter, or the roadmap, then that has to be revised. Our organization's strategic goals and objectives should be revised to ensure alignment. This may occur in research. Normally, in research project like the program I gave you an example of the writing of the new standard. That is kind of a research thing, and lot many uncertainties are there in research programs, where the results of a program determine that a given line of research is not likely to succeed. And the organization then changes its strategy, sometimes without cancelling or discontinuing the program, to better leverage the results of the program. So one way could have been to cancel the program because the objectives have changed. So let's cancel this program and start a new one. But that would be the wastage of the resources which have been put into this program. If it was a project, I might think about cancelling the project and starting a new project. Although even in projects, we consider making changes to the project if they can survive. But programs have longer duration, and there is more likelihood that we are not going to cancel the program right in the middle. We cannot simply decide to discontinue a program. We try to save the program, and therefore we will amend these things and align these things according to the new business case. And that is to better leverage the results of the program. So everything will be revised accordingly. So misalignment must be removed. You remember the example of the polio project program I gave? Even the polio program did not deliver its intended benefits in the stipulated time. Still, they did not close it down because strategically that was so important that we could not have survived without it. Therefore, they decided to, change the scope and give it more time, give it more resources, and still meet the objective of eradication of polio from the country. Next topic is program business case. Organizations build strategy to define how their vision will be achieved. The completion of the strategic planning cycle results in the creation or update of the organization's strategic goals and objectives, which is documented in the organization strategic plan. So I am not talking about the program as yet. I am talking about the organization strategy. Organization strategy is described in the organizational strategic plan. And organizational strategic plan talks about all the different goals and objectives which have to be achieved to ultimately achieve its vision or bigger strategy. So if I look at the hierarchy, the biggest thing an organization is looking at is the vision of the organization. As I described earlier, vision of an organization uh, may not be very logical. It may be like a dream, but you are supposed to dream on when we are creating the vision. You may set impossible targets when you are considering developing a vision, but then you make your vision uh, more practical by consolidating it into a vision statement. So the basic of vision is the brainstorming. The basic of vision is not logic. It is a dream. It is thinking out of the box. And once you have thought an idea out of the box, then that has to be made more practical in form and converted in form of a vision statement. And based on this vision statement, we make it more logical by defining our mission. So this is the vision and mission of the organization. And that mission, how is it to be accomplished, is your strategic plan. And you divide this mission into long-term, mid-term, and short-term targets. And you devise your strategies for achieving long-term, medium-term, and short-term targets. These strategies, naturally, first of all, you are developing the long-term strategic plan is created, say for 25 years where the organization will be. So you create a strategic plan for that. Then you have your midterm strategic plans, which is a breakdown of the long-term strategic plan. And that midterm strategic plan will be broken down to the short-term strategic plan. Now, whatever the project programs or portfolios are there, they are basically following the short-term or medium-term plans. Therefore, there is a smaller fabric of strategy which is given in the goals and objectives of that short-term plan, strategic plan, which is to be accomplished by a project or a program. So this is all documented in the strategic plan. Organization's vision and mission are used as input to the strategic planning cycle and are reflected throughout the strategic plan. And again, strategic planning is cyclic in nature. As we said in the second point here, the completion of a strategic planning cycle. So when do we have the strategic planning cycle? For the short-term plans, maybe we have yearly strategic planning cycle. For midterm, say if it is 5 year is our midterm, then after every 5 years we will have a strategic planning cycle for midterm decisions. And the overall visioning, missioning cycle, that would be the high level or long range strategic planning. So minimum a strategic plan could be on a yearly basis or maybe bi-yearly basis or twice a year or something like that. So that would actually be indicating the short-term planning. Am I clear on this point?
Yes.
Okay, Julian, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So the organization strategic plan is subdivided into set of organizational initiatives that are influenced in part by a number of things. And these things which are listed here, you have already studied them in PMP. In project management, we say that whatever the decisions we take and whatever is the strategic plan is basically impacted by various internal and external factors which could change the direction of strategy of an organization. So organizational change happens due to these things. Market dynamics, market demand changes, customer and partner request. Customer is specifically requesting us to develop something which was earlier not within the scope. Now, because of the customer demand, we are changing our strategy to encompass the customer demand and keep him satisfied. Maybe the shareholders want more profit, so we may have to re-strategize that the profits we are already earning are not enough and shareholders need more. So how can we do that? Government regulations. Sometimes governments pass certain regulations which affect our strategic plan, and therefore we have to encompass those regulations into our strategic plan. So change in the strategy has to happen. And sometimes internally we analyze the SWOT analysis is done, and the strengths and weaknesses of the organization will determine that our strategic plan may have to be revised to exploit our strengths and to eradicate our weaknesses. So therefore, strategy can also be impacted by that. And sometimes it is due to the risk exposure of the market, whatever is the risk exposure, and the competitor plans and actions. You do the benchmarking and you find that you have to change your strategy. I'm talking about the organizational strategy. I'm not talking about the program strategy here. So these are all the elements which could impact organizational change. And organization change means change in strategy of the organization. These initiatives may be grouped into portfolios. So whatever change related initiatives could be portfolios to be executed during a predetermined period. So portfolio is given a target that in this next 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, you have to accomplish this much well, you know, this much strategy has to be delivered. These are the goals and objectives which have to be delivered, and portfolio will then prioritize the incoming projects and program proposals for acceptance, approval, denial, or they may be deferred. Programs are formally evaluated, selected and authorized based on their alignment and scored to achieve the organizational strategic plan. We already have explained what is an organizational strategic plan, so therefore we need not be confused about it. Usually as part of the organizational governance practices, or I said the framework, no, the guiding principle under which we will be creating this alignment would be the governance framework of the organization, and program will have its own governance framework which is under the organizational governance framework or practices. To facilitate alignment and goal setting, the organization strategic plan is further delineated as a set of goals and objectives that may have measurable elements. Now what we are doing is, whatever was the short-term strategy given in the strategic plan, we are taking one of those strategies for our program to accomplish in the program, and then further delineating or breaking down that strategy or that goal or objective into smaller goals and objectives, and that would define the strategy of the program. Strategic goals of the program are strategic goals and objectives of the program. So they are the breakdown of a larger goal or objective taken from the short-term or mid-term organizational goals and objectives. Now, whatever the breakdown you do of these goals and objectives, they should be measurable elements. You should be able to accomplish them if only you know exactly what is to be produced or what benefit is to be yielded, either product or benefit. We must understand, we must be able to measure that product or benefit. Only then we can explain it into the form of a project or program. So these measurable elements could be the products, deliverables, benefits, cost or timing, among many others. There could be others also. So this is, I hope, if I am not confusing you already, I should be able to have convinced you that the organizational strategic goals and objectives at the lowest level, which were the short-term goals and objectives, are now being further broken down into the program goals and objectives. They have been delineated, and while you do that, you have tried your level best to make them measurable as possible, as if whatever the result has to be produced out of it, the product, deliverable, benefit, or whatever, that could be clearly explained. The goal of linking the program to the organizational strategic plan is to plan and manage a program that will help the organization achieve its strategic goals and objectives. The organizational strategic goal and objective is prime, and whatever I am doing is to support that goal and objective. So when I say strategic goal and objective, that is the larger form of the program goals and objectives. Program goals and objectives are the breakdown of the strategic goal and objective. Therefore, you may have been given one strategic goal and objective for your program to achieve, or you could have been given two or three, and you have further broken them down into your program objectives, and to balance its use of resources while maximize value. Now, this is the job of the program to ensure that all the breakdown of the strategy, the goals and objectives it has created, how most efficiently can it deliver those goals and objectives at program level. So when I say the balance of resources means that appropriate use of resources with achieving efficiency, maximum value. Minimum resources, maximum value. This is achieved through a business case, and business case is basically, as I said, the justification, how is it feasible to be done. So feasibility is decided, and feasibility tells us that this program or this project which we are undertaking is going to be useful, feasible for the organization. So that is how you establish your strategic goal. Business case. During program definition, the program manager collaborates with key sponsors and stakeholders to develop the business case. Now, this is a little bit confusing because generally program manager comes into play when the program charter is being issued. But if you even look at a guide to project management body of knowledge, you would see very clearly that it says that a project manager should be mobilized as soon as possible, as early as possible. And the latest a project manager can be mobilized is before the planning starts, right? So if project manager was available while the business case was being developed, that is always good. I will apply the same rule here. But here, the program manager has a wider view of the things, and therefore he needs to have more understanding. It is mandatory for the program manager to be present when the business case is being developed. But program manager is formally granted the authority. He is authorized to do the job of the program in the chart. The logic remains the same as in the case of the project manager, but it is now greatly advised to have program manager available while the business case is being conceived or being developed. So the program manager collaborates with the key sponsors and stakeholders to develop the program business case. Having said that, who is responsible for creating the business case? Not the program manager. Not the program manager. Naturally, either it is the business analyst or the portfolio manager. But program manager who has yet not been given the charter is like a support here. He supports the function of creating the business case, while the responsibility of developing the business case is not with the program manager himself. This business case is developed to assess the program's investment against the intended benefits. So this provides a justification that whatever we are going to be investing into the program is justified in comparison with the intended benefits, meaning the benefits are going to be more than the investment. So if the benefits are more than the investment, then it is justified. So this is a simple justification. But remember, this business case does not describe that portfolio has picked it up. A program or a project may be feasible, but program may decide not to start it. Portfolio may defer this justified program just because in the priority in which the programs and projects are available to be done, your program comes not in the priority list and therefore is not allowed to be included into the portfolio for the time being. Although it remains justified, but it is not included. So business case is not the selection. Business case is basically the justification, whether the benefits are going to be more than investment or not. If yes, then business case is okay. Business case can be basic or high level or detailed and comprehensive. I hope you can understand that. It usually describes key parameters that can be used to assess the objectives and constraints for the intended program. Business case must describe the criteria for success, the definition of done, how we can say that this target which we have specified in the business case or this benefit has been realized. So it has to describe some basic parameters, key parameters that can be used to assess the objectives and constraints for the intended program. I hope I am making myself clear so far.
Yes, fine.
Okay. So what should be the ingredients of a business case? Naturally, there could be any format you are using. and different organizations, different formats are used, and we are not suggesting any format at all, but we are just suggesting certain headings which may be included. You may have some other headings included in addition to these, or you may forego some of these headings. That does not matter. But these are some good practices suggested to you should be included in the business case. Like the program outcome, if you are creating the program business case, the outcomes of the program, the benefits of the program must be clearly defined. Approved concept, any issues, high level risks and opportunity assessment should be done. What are the key assumptions you are taking? Business and operational impact. What will be the business and operational impact of doing this program? Cost benefit analysis, which is the basic financial justification. What are the various alternatives available to you? What are the different ways this program could have been done? Financial analysis, funding, how the funding is going to be acquired and how it is to be spent. Intrinsic and extrinsic benefits, market demands and barriers, potential profits, social need, environmental influences, legal implications, if any, time to market, constraints, and the extent to which the program aligns with the organization strategic plan. So, I am not saying that all of these headings should be included in your business case, but you must consider all of them. And if you feel that, say, there is no need for having a social need defined here, it is your decision. But these are the good practices. If they are defined, then it's good to have. So it will enhance your chances of success. A better business case will be developed if we can somehow include all of them or most of them. PMI does not make anything mandatory for you. Therefore, PMI is not also giving you any format. It is just suggesting that these are some of the headings you must consider while you're developing the business case. What is the intent and authority of your business case? The business case describes the intent and authority behind the drivers of the program and underlying philosophy of the business need. So basically, business case is defining the intent and authority. Business case also serves as a formal declaration of the value that the program is expected to deliver and a justification for the resources that will be expended to deliver it. So the benefits are clearly defined and how those benefits will be achieved, that justification is also provided. And compare these two, the benefits should outweigh the resources or the expenditures or the investment. So that is when the business case becomes justified. Business case is required as one of the document deliverables before the program can be formally chartered and may be considered as a primary justification document for an investment decision. So portfolio will take the investment decision based on the business case. So it will consider different business cases and it will then select some out of the many for inclusion into the portfolio. Also, the business case describes the success criteria that is maintained throughout the program. Success criteria, it is the definition of done. So how would you know that the targets defined in the business case are achieved? What is the success criteria for that? What is the definition of done for that? The variance between the achieved and the planned outcomes is calculated to measure the success of the program. probably we are very well aware of the term variance from our project management knowledge. So I need not explain it any further. Okay, I'm done with the business case. Any questions about business case are welcome here.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. Julian, is it fine with you?
No questions here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Moving on to the program charter, now that we have the business case and we have the approval of the business case, the program steering committee authorizes the program by means of the program charter. So program charter is the instrument through which the authorization of the program is given. And given to whom? Naturally to the program manager. So program manager must exist at this point. Although we said that program manager may be available or should be available during the business case development, but it was not the responsibility of the program manager to develop the business case, right? So he must be part of the initiative. Now we are saying that program is being authorized, and this is high time the program manager should be available. Derived from the business case. Yes.
Do you think we should do some questions at the end of this, like the business charter and roadmap, so that we have just a general understanding of when it comes to real questions, how do we fare?
Okay. I have got a paper for I have got a paper for strategy. I can give you that at the end of it. But I'm sorry I could not give you the domains and other questions are not there with me, and I could not give it to you. So I will provide them otherwise. But we will do a strategy exam at the end. Right?
Okay. We will do it with you right now
in
the session.
Of course.
Okay. Sounds good.
I feel that we probably will not be able to finish this today. So tomorrow when we complete it, we will put the exam at the end of that. Is it okay with you?
Sounds good. I just want to know, there's a way to tackle the questions. And if I just wanted to do some practice as to how to read them, how to approach them.
Okay.
And then, get some practice around it because I went over your link and there are lots of questions there, lots of other things. And when I was reading them, I didn't feel so comfortable going over them. And then I wasn't even sure if they're all for SPM4 or not. There is lots of stuff, there are lots of books there, but all of them seem from 2010. So I don't know if they're still applicable. Are they applicable to version 2, version 3?
Okay.
Or they're good for us?
First of all of those books are applicable, right? Because your ECO is for 2011. So all those books which have ever been written on program management are applicable. But you have to filter that knowledge through the SPM4, right? But if you get a question in the exam from a book which was written in 2012, then you can't say that this is out of syllabus. There's nothing out of syllabus for the PgMP exam. You understand my point?
No, it's just the pieces that have been taken out of SPM4, right? SPM4. And there are certain pieces that have been added.
Yes.
So,
yes, of course. There will be certain questions.
I just wanted to keep it relevant to go with the stuff that we're supposed to cover first, and then good to know is something else, and a must know section is something else. So I'm trying to cover the must know first, and then good to know comes.
Farhal, I must emphasize this point here that you will get questions from SPM 2, 3 and 4, all of them, right? But naturally, more emphasis should be on SPM4. But I am already explaining things which were in SPM3, and what has changed in SPM4. You have an idea that the thing which was called as a program mandate is now called a program charter, right? So these kind of things you must understand that this is one and the same thing. The thing was program mandate earlier, now it is called program charter, right? So that kind of thing. There's not much of difficulty in that. So please don't be bothered about that. We will be able to fix that. Moreover, one more point. There are two types of questions you should be preparing for. Number one, questions specific to SPM, which are short questions given at the end of normally any book written on program management exam prep. They are not like actual questions. They are like small questions, one or two liners, but they are good to polish your knowledge. Actual questions you are going to get are lengthy questions, like one or two paragraphs. You won't find those questions anywhere. Only a couple of questions you can find. I think Dharam Singh's I don't remember what is the name of that person. Some of his questions are good, and then Ginger Leven, some of her questions are also good. But you see, actual questions you will have in your exam, they are matchless. Nobody has written similar questions ever. So it is.
Has somebody ever come back to you and said that Ginger Levin's questions are extremely difficult as compared to the real exam?
Yeah. They should be. They should be difficult. They're of the level of Rita Balkehi. Right? Rita's questions are difficult than the actual exam. Similarly, Ginger's questions are also a little difficult than the actual exam. But they are not written exactly in the format of actual exam.
And the other one you're referring to is Dharam Singh?
I think so. There is another set of questions, 170 questions. Dharam Singh or some.
Is it that there's a guy by the name Paul Sangera or something? Ginger Levin, Paul Sangera. Those are the names I've heard.
Don't read Paul Sangera. Paul Sangera is very bad. Very bad. He doesn't have any knowledge of program management, and he keeps discussing project management in all his books. So I would not recommend reading Paul Sangera at all.
Okay. So then would you be able to check who's the other person that you're saying it's either Dharam Singh or somebody?
Dharam Singh, there is a set of 170 questions. I don't remember what is the name.
Okay. It's okay. We haven't started doing them. I'm sorry. I just put you on the spot. Yeah. I'm just asking because, sometimes you've read something like I read the chapter and you still feel fuzzy as to, sometimes you think you haven't grasped much.
Exactly.
And you just want to check it. So maybe that's the case with you.
Right. Okay. So coming back to our program charter, as we said, following the approval of the business case, we authorize the charter. Derived from the business case, naturally. The program charter is a document that assigns and authorizes our program manager and defines the scope and purpose of a proposed program presented to governance to obtain approval, funding, and authorization. Naturally, once you give a charter to someone, you give him the authority to move ahead with resources, right? So now it is the responsibility of the program manager, once he receives the charter, to obtain all the various approvals, fundings, and authorizations from the sponsor. And the executive sponsor, usually we call him, the program sponsor is the executive sponsor. So what are the key elements of a program charter? Just like project charter, program charter is not supposed to be a very lengthy document. But still, naturally, a program is a bigger thing than a project. Therefore, it tends to be slightly lengthier than the project charter. What all it should include is the scope of the program, any assumptions or constraints. Naturally, there will be more assumptions and constraints here because uncertainty is high. Any high-level risks you can visualize, any high-level benefits which have been defined in the business case naturally. What are the goals and objectives of your program? What are the success factors? Why? Because we want to establish a success criteria. And is there any constraint on timing or what kind of time frame is available? Who are the key stakeholders and any other provisions? These are some of the things you must be considering to be included in the program chart that tie the program to the business case, thereby enabling program strategy alignment. So alignment is coming from the business case because business case is already created and approved and is found to be aligned with the program strategy. If the alignment gets disturbed, if the business case is no more valid, then it has to be redone. And if it is redone, the program charter, if already created, will also have to be redone. So the program charter formally expresses the organization's vision, mission, and benefits expected to be produced by the program. So please remember, I started with organization's vision, mission, goals, strategies, goals, objectives. And in strategies, I said long-term, mid-term, and short-term. So translating that into program goals and objectives, program strategy, program goals and objectives. So program goals and objectives will be the delineation of the organizational goals and objectives. It also defines program specific goals and objectives in alignment with the organizational strategic plan. So if it is the delineation of the same, then ultimately it is going to be aligned with the organizational strategic plan. And it will be in support of the business case because business case is also aligned with that. It provides the program manager with the authority for leading other subsidiary program projects or related activity to be initiated. Meaning what? All the components of the program manager can authorize himself and lead them through. Program manager is responsible and authorized for creating whatever components, sub-programs, projects, or other related work is to be included in the program. He will authorize that and he will lead that. It provides a framework by which these program components will be managed and monitored during the course of the program. It is one of the document deliverables that will be used to measure program success. So program charter will be referred back whenever we are actually accomplishing the goals of the program. The success criteria has been defined in the program charter initially, and therefore it will be referred back. Remember, once the program charter has been created, then business case is generally not referred directly. Program charter is referred for all future documentation. But naturally, if the program business case changes, the program charter will also have to change because this is the reference point for all subsequent activity. It should include the metrics for success, a method for measurement, and a clear definition of success. Coming over to the roadmap, what is the roadmap? I have already given you an indication that this roadmap is not the schedule, it's not the detailed schedule. not even the schedule. It is more of a timeline. And I hope I explained earlier to you what a timeline is. Timeline just shows the major milestones of an initiative, major accomplishments, points in time when what has to happen. It is not a detailed schedule. While planning the program manager analyzes available information about the organizational strategic goals and objectives, internal and external influences, program drivers, and the benefits that stakeholders expect the program to realize. Program is defined in terms of expected outcomes, required resources, and the strategy for delivering the needed changes to implement new capabilities across the organization. So now we are drilling down. We are not just saying that program realizes the benefits. We are saying how a program will be defined based on naturally the expected benefits or outcomes. But we also has to see what are the resources required for that. What is the strategy of the program, how to deliver the needed changes, and how it will impact the accomplishment of the capabilities. What new capabilities are you going to deliver to the organization by doing this program? So program definition will cover all that. Program roadmap is a chronological representation of a program's intended direction, graphically depicting dependencies between major milestones and decision points. That is the definition. Major milestones and decision points. This is what we generally call a timeline, which reflects the linkage between the business strategy and the program work. So I would rather call it a little better than a roadmap. Little better than a timeline. But roadmap is not a schedule. It is something like a timeline. I hope you understand the timeline is. Yes, Julian? Do you understand what a timeline is? I hope I asked this question earlier as well. Faryan?
Yes. Yes, it's basically what you're saying is that other than just the major milestones and
Right.
decision points,
Yes.
it kind of links it with your business strategy as well, because it shows you, I believe the stage gates and all of those things, the decision points kind of take you back to, are you delivering the benefits? So I think that's how it helps you to determine if you're going in the right direction as well.
Exactly. And it is generally shown on a straight line, a timeline I'm talking about. I'm not explicitly talking about the program roadmap. A timeline is a straight line on which, you say evolution of a human being. So you start on that line from when it was a monkey, and then after some time you say in year this he became like this, and the evolution of the human being would be shown on that line, marking the dates for each point. So that would be a timeline. Roadmap is a little elaborate, more elaborate thing than a timeline.
Suhail, another thing, these references to your figures, they are for SPM4?
Yes.
Okay.
The references provided in these slides, the slides which you are seeing, the references there are from SPM3. Here, these slides are for SPM4.
Okay. And then in your resources, there was this Visio, like the mapping done. And I believe that is for SPM3 as well.
Yes, I have not done the SPM4 mapping.
Okay, because I think we have done that in the definition phase. We've got
Exactly.
program formulation and program planning. And then I think there are some differences in the closure as well, and then the risk management section.
Exactly. Things have changed. Things have changed. Because previously they used to have initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and close. So the whole thought was different, and therefore the things were more like we used to do in the projects. Now the things have changed. That they are more flexible now. Therefore, I personally think there is not enough need for doing that kind of mapping. But anyways, I will try to create a map for that, and I'll share that with you.
Okay. So am I still okay to follow those, or am I better off not using them?
Don't look at that roadmap, because that mapping that might not be exactly what you want.
Because now we don't have any concept of that IPECC from project management.
Exactly. So that is not applicable anymore.
Okay, so there is no concept of initiation or any of that during program delivery phase.
Yes, that is the point. I created it just to relate it with the project management. Right. So the elements of the roadmap, while elements of a program roadmap are similar to the project schedule, they look something like a project schedule. But I would say this is something, roadmap is something between a timeline and a schedule, right? So this is a little better than a timeline and little less than a schedule. The roadmap instead outlines the major program events for the purposes of planning and the development of more detailed schedules. Based on this roadmap, you will then be able to develop detailed schedules. Program roadmap also reflects the pace at which the benefits are realized. That means that the dates it gives kind of approximate dates when which benefits are to be delivered, and serves as a basis for transition and integration of new capabilities. Meaning what will be transitioning to the customer and when. So at least in roadmap, I will be explaining that how it is to be achieved. That will be the part of the detailed program schedule, and that program schedule will further be broken down into the project schedule, the relevant component schedules. So this is a small example of a program roadmap. You see, this is not detailed at all. It generally describes what all are the components, which component has to approximately start at what point, and which is dependent upon which, and things like that. The basic thing is the timeline, which is shown on top, the waves, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and these are the decision points. This is the primary purpose of the timeline. So these waves and decision points.
Where does it tell us about the benefit transition? Like the last bullet point on your last slide.
Okay. You see the lines coming out of a component going to another component. That means the output is coming out of here and may have transitioned into something, some benefit, and moving on to the project J. If it has converted into some benefit, there has to be another component in between, right? And that would be other activity. That other activity would convert it into some benefit and then move it to the next project, or send that benefit directly to the consolidated benefits. So generally, we are not going into that much detail. We are just showing approximately when which component will happen. That is the basic definition. We are not supposed to be going into much more detail here because we don't know that as much.
Okay. On the pictorial view, we don't show it, but the last bullet on your last slide, that is still I would say conceptually it's accurate, but it's not depicted on the roadmap example or a picture.
Yes. So this is just an example how your different components of the program will actually be happening during the life of the program. So your program of say 20 years, which project is dependent on what. So general sequencing of the projects will also be there, and the benefit delivery will also be visible there.
So Suhail, are new terms for SPM4, are they in an updated lexicon?
Yes, of course. At the end of your version 4, there is a glossary, and the new lexicon, the PMI lexicon, is also adopted to that, the newer edition.
Okay. Is there a place to go get, because I remember in our first or second lecture I put my notes down and you referred to a few things in which you said you should refer to the ECO, the and lexicon and the SPM4 and the PMP, the latest version at least.
Right.
Those are the minimum things. Exactly. And then I think in front of the lexicon, I thought you said it's in your drive, and I looked and I don't think I found it.
Okay, I can share it, but lexicon might have a problem because lexicon will be revised after a certain time. And during that time, if some new standards have come, they might not have been included in the current version of the lexicon. So the best approach would be to look at your standard. If you are reading fourth edition of program management, then look at the glossary of the fourth edition. So
that's only, but that is the glossary whenever I don't understand something or I need to clear a concept in my head. That's what I refer to. If that is enough, then I don't need to, complicate things by going to the lexicon separately.
Lexicon is not going to give you any more than that. Exactly the same definition which is written here in the glossary will be there.
Okay. And Suhail, what was this? I think I'm going back to the first session that we had, and it said PgMP Handbook revised 1st April 2019.
Revised, yes, but it is the same content of 2011. The few things are revised, like the payment procedure has been revised. Small little things have been revised. Otherwise, nothing has changed. Yes.
Which procedure? What did you say?
Payment procedure. For all PMI certifications now, you pay after the audit. Previously, they used to collect the payment before the audit starts. Now they collect the payment after the audit.
Okay. So there's not enough. Okay.
Not much of change.
Basically, for anything which is done in 2011, we are good.
Yes.
Other than this,
all the references, all the books, everything. So, if I were you, I would have taken all the books which have been written on program management from, say, 2005 till now, and pick the best books out of them and just scan through them. You don't need to go in depth with that. I used to, just scan through the books. I just read through the books without making any notes, because my notes are PgMP. The standard for program management is in the back.
That's what I'm trying to do. That I want to at least have my base covered and then read other things, because I don't want to complicate before having my concept clear.
That is the point. First, create your base, and because then the book you are studying, any other book you are studying, will not pollute your mind. If a concept is reinforced, that will stick to your mind. If anything is in contradiction, that will.
So I haven't started anything other than SPM4, and I only read a little bit and then I give it, put it down because I'm not good at reading at a stretch. So
Okay. I think I don't have that book, but Michel Thierry has written a book on program management. I don't have that book, but probably I suppose that that must be a good book because I know him personally. He is very good at that. Secondly,
how do you spell that? Mission.
yeah, reference is there, and then we have got what is the name of that?
Maybe in the next lecture you can share what version or volume and if there is a PDF available or something, because ordering books in Pakistan is like a 4-5 week process.
I understand this.
So I'll be better off when I get back to Toronto. I'll be able to get them easily. So I'm trying to cover the base right now, and then it will be easier. Even the libraries have stuff, and you can get them on Amazon. Over here the delivery time is amazing.
Yeah. The very famous author, I just forgot his name. I keep referring
Okay.
him everywhere.
You can tell me tomorrow, that's fine.
Okay. Right. Okay. So that is a roadmap. Purpose, the program roadmap can be a valuable tool for managing the organization of a program and for assessing a program's progress toward achieving its expected benefits. So this behaves like a outline schedule for you. To better enable effective governance of the program roadmap can be used to show how benefits are delivered within major stages or milestones. However, it may include the component details, their durations, and the contributions to benefits. You can provide the approximate durations and all that, but that could be just indicative. For example, in a large construction program, for example, the roadmap may present stages of construction toward the final benefit of the construction. In a system development and production program, roadmap may depict how benefits such as system capabilities will be delivered through incremental releases or a series of models. A roadmap is an effective way to communicate the overarching plan and benefits to stakeholders to build and maintain advocacy. If you have a roadmap created and you can discuss it with your stakeholders all the time, that would be a very strong tool for advocating your cause. The purpose of your project is made clear to people and they are convinced with you. Otherwise, you may have to explain things verbally. Okay, next is the environmental assessment. Do you want me to continue or should we bend it for tomorrow? I have just two topics left, and if I can bend it for tomorrow, we can discuss environmental assessment and the risk strategy, and then we can take the exam. What do you think?
Sorry, I was speaking, but I didn't realize I'm muted. So
Okay.
yeah, that is fine. So we are finishing chapter 3, right?
Yeah, we are halfway through, more than halfway through.
Okay.
And
so we've got chapter 1, chapter 2, and now chapter 3?
Yes. We will complete it tomorrow and we will do the test tomorrow.
Okay.
Julian, is it okay with you?
This is okay. I just have a question on this chapter. There's a line under environmental factors that has health, safety, and environment. The environment part is is this an environmental factor talking about like the actual environment of the company, or or risks like say a tornado or that type of environment?
Risk we will talk later, but you see, environment means internal and external factors. They could be anything which can affect the capability of your program. It can enhance your capability. It can, reduce your capability and capacity. So anything which is impacting, whether it is a risk or not, it doesn't matter. Internal or external factor which could impact your program positively or negatively. So that these are the environments. Then we specifically talk about the risks. When we talk about the risks, then we have the opportunities and threats. So we explicitly then start defining those opportunities and threats. So there might be an environment which can impact you, but that impact may not be a surprise. Risk is something which is uncertain by nature. Environment may not be uncertain, but environment may include risks. Do you get my point?
Yes.
Okay, I think let's conclude it. So tomorrow we will start with environmental assessment, and then we'll talk about the program risk management strategy, and then we will have a small little exam. That will conclude chapter 3, and from next day we will be starting the next chapter, which is on program benefit management. So thank you very much and take care. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.